and you're like, these people just like eating chips in the living room are now running a $8 billion company. Like,
crazy.
I mean, I met my wife in this house at a hackathon. I truly believe it's 80% the soft skill.
Wow.
Perhaps three. There's the ability to think really big, move really fast. And then the one that people don't usually develop until later is like not burn out. That's a very hard one. Great.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Great.
Good. I'm really happy, guys. So this is my 22 days here in San Francisco, and I spent like 2 days here in this house. It's named an AGI house, and I had a great honor to meet Kyle. So I really want to share this experience with Kyle too, and to give some context. So we are running a competition here, like it's a hackathon. So there's a bunch of founders making some project, and the goal is like to make the most money from these 3 days. And what was amazing is like yesterday we heard about some big startup begin their path here. One of them is Lovable, other are but I think you perhaps you can share more about it, but in a couple of words, if you can present yourself, Kyle, and tell me why you are here, what you are doing, and this kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been a founder for a while. So I started my first company at 13, and then I did a lot of deep tech, like robots, autonomous cars. I came to the Valley in 2017, 18. I was at Cruise. Started another GPU company. Eventually, I got really into co-living. So I lived at a house called Genesis, which is how I met Jeremy, and which turned into Neogenesis, which turned into AGI House. And so it began in Hillsboro, which is south of SF, and then expanded into San Francisco. And I've basically been following the lineage of whenever one of these houses, pop up. I always like to be, like, I try to be like the first one to say, hey, I'll help kick it off. I'll help run some events. I love meeting the people. So I've been here for approaching a couple of years, right since day one. And yeah, I've met a lot of really incredible people. Often what happens is teams will show up just like today. And I don't think you really think they're building anything big at the moment. And it's hard to pinpoint the starting moment. But then in retrospect, when their company is very large, like Lovable was one of the notable examples, Perplexity is another in the Hillsboro one, you kind of realize how magical that moment is when you're like, we were all I'm just hacking in a room. I didn't realize this was going to be such a big deal. Even within the Perplexity case, we would have our event speak at the house multiple times and be, I remember there's discussions of like, hey, maybe I'll move into a room, maybe I'll come to this hackathon, but the growth just ramped up so quickly, and nobody really sees it coming. I don't even think the founders particularly do, and it's very exciting. So it gives you a very unique feeling of like momentum and like what is possible when you see it in front of you, and you're like, these people just like eating chips in the living room are now running a $8 billion company. Like,
crazy.
And that is like a thing that is like a very tangible thing you can do. It's not like you're imagining it, it is like in your house. It is like your people you just watch. So I think there's something very visceral about that, like a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. So that's why I really like being here.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Kyle, you shared us so much energy, so much great information, and you are telling us like you are in the fundament of this kind of houses and hacker house. For me, like it's a special experience because I didn't hear about it. Like I came from France, originally from Algeria, but in France perhaps it exists, but it's not like so many, and they don't see perhaps the value of it. And right now you said something brilliant, great. It's like it's tangible. You just said like people here like run right now a billion company, and it's tangible because they worked on this kind of office, on this table.
Yeah.
So it gives a lot of motivation, and like you said, something tangible. I really like it. Kyle, so for you, it got me to my second question. Perhaps you meet. So you said you have like more than like 9 years, right? 8 to 9 years here in San Francisco. So my question is like, how is it to be how we call it, stranger, or perhaps like an outsider, like someone who came from another country here, immigrant.
Yeah.
How is it to be like
Yeah.
immigrant here in San Francisco?
Yeah. Well, so I guess I've functionally been here. I would say maybe 5 would be the correct answer of being in San Francisco. I've bounced in and out a lot before I really started staying here longer term. Yeah, this is always fun because there's different types of like immigration to the U.S. I'm in one of the simplest cases. I'm very privileged, very thankful that I'm coming from Canada, which most immigrants would laugh and say that's not immigration. I think I'm really thankful that that is the case. I see my friends coming from India, God forbid, like Pakistan or like some of these places. It's just incredibly difficult to make it in on the immigration front. That's, I think, everyone will have a different experience on like what the cultural backing is. I think what I can talk about is my experience. I came from a smaller part of Canada in a place called Manitoba, which is like a kind of a corn, it's like a farming region called Winnipeg. And yeah, like I don't think like most people, a lot of people don't go to university. There'll be a group of people who do. A lot will go and work on the oil rigs in Alberta, or they'll farm, or they'll work at a convenience store. Like, that's like considered good. You go to university, and then if you do computer science or anything in the first place, that's very novel. The act of leaving to do something is very, very scary. Like the really ambitious people will end up at Waterloo, or they'll become a doctor or something. And going to the Valley is virtually unheard of. There's maybe, I think, at the time when I was in university, there's a small handful of like 3 to 5 of us, I think, that were like, or only 2 people I knew as examples who had ever made it to this magical place. So I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. And then I was doing academia. I had met Cruise, the people from Cruise, like fairly early on in 2017 at a conference. And I was just really attracted to like the culture. It was so fascinating. Like they strapped a VR headset on me and they said like, I was in this VR headset that was in San Francisco driving, and they're like, this is what autonomous cars will feel like. And they were like shaking my chair to give me a feeling of like, I'm in a car. And I was like this, and they were next to Apple and Google. So they have these like massive companies doing demos, and they're just like sitting here with like shaking my chair. And they're like, we're gonna build like autonomous cars. And then like, I was like, these guys are crazy. And then they ended up raising $1 billion. I was like, all right, I need to join these people. I need to go to this place called the Valley. I need to understand what's going on. By the time I showed up, I was extremely, I was very sold on it. I was going to do graduate studies. So I ended up dropping out, being like, I'm gonna grow a company here. Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. So it's very much, I kind of kept getting sucked in. I wasn't planning on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had something like that. They told me like when you arrive here to the Valley, you don't arrive just like this. Like there is a reason that you arrive in. You don't know it yet, but you just follow and you stick on a lot of things. And it's really interesting because you are sharing the same thing. All right, good. What can we talk together? You said me something too. Is like people here are always building things. Like they are always active, so in the office and this kind of thing. And if we get back to this hacker house, how can you? Do you think you can live here for like your life, or how is it to live like in this kind of?
Yeah, so I guess you're saying, can you live? Let me know if I'm correct. It sounds like you're asking the question of sustainability. Like, can you do this long term?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think I like seeing sustainability as like a skill, like any entrepreneur, any like ambitious builder needs to have, engineer, researcher, founder, where there's kind of 2 skills. So there's the ability, maybe perhaps 3. There's the ability to think really big, move really fast, and then the one that people don't usually develop until later is like not burn out. That's a very hard one, and so I treat that as just an equivalently important skill, and so. I think if you want to be in a house like this, you need to have all 3 really well. Like otherwise, the 3rd will, like you'll get burned out really quick. Like if every day you wake up and everything all the time is focused on work. If you don't have boundaries for yourself to be able to like eat, sleep, exercise, if you don't have relationships you care about that are separate from your valuation of your company, that's really tough. And so I've been in both cases. I think I have a very sustainable set now. I mean, I met my wife in this house at a hackathon, and I've met a lot of my like best friends through the hackathon community. So I'm very like intentional there, and I think the way I make it holistic is like I understand like certain parts of this are more chaotic than others. Like, you know, a company I make, maybe it doesn't make it, maybe it dies, but the friends stay. And so I'm very firm on like it's like yeah, what stays and what goes when things get crazy. And I think yeah, it's really important to have that sense of like where do you end, and where does this project start? What's part of you? What is like kind of next to you? And you have to like really just understand that. Otherwise it becomes everything all the time, and you just like completely lose your sense of self if you're not really diligent about it. Yeah.
Really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And this makes me to another question is like, okay, for me, like I'm a beginner. I consider myself like a beginner because it always open your mind and learning things. And I said to myself, okay, if I need to go from scratch building a product, I will need some skills, right? What advice can you share for someone who want to survive or who want to make a situation here in the Valley about focusing on perhaps the top 3 skills that they need to have? More hard skill than soft skill, because you shared me right now that some soft skill, but like hard skill.
And to clarify, is the goal to build a profitable company? Is the goal to build like a tech innovation? Like what would the goal be? Because it's a function of that.
I think for me, like to be to give a trust, to give like something tangible in this world, not just in the Valley. I mean, to be here to build something that will have a great impact in the world and to contribute globally on something big. I don't know if it can be tech. I think this is the main thing here. Everything is tech. So
yeah. So you're asking, and you were separating, and the thing I'll ask is hard skill versus soft skill. So soft is like sustainability. You classify that as soft.
Yeah.
Hard, you would classify as like a specific tool or a specific to understand the level of like abstraction.
For me, it's just like you said, sustainability. For me, it's like a soft skill. Sustainability, health, it's kind of building fast, make things done. For me, this is like soft skill. Hard skill will be more like, okay, you should learn how to write code or how to vibe code, or perhaps you need to understand how to sell before you build. You know, I don't know. Like kind of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I truly believe it's 80% the soft skill.
Wow.
80%. It's potentially 90 to 95%. The software languages I use change every 2 years. The tech stack. Of course, there's selling and everything. But what you really need to learn is how to. You need to really understand who you are and what you care about. When you know that. And if you're in the Valley and you want to build something big, you need to learn how to keep shooting big and be willing to miss and fail over and over and over. And that is just like part of your daily routine. Like that just has to be very natural. If you develop that process, that will involve, like you'll say like, I need to do this. What do I need to learn? Oh, I need to learn to sell. Okay, I'm going to call this person. I'm going to call this person. They told me to like, shut up. They said like, get away. Okay, like adjust. And it's like most people they don't set a big goal in the first place. If you're willing to set an ambitious goal, you're already in the top percent in terms of like being able to achieve like a big thing. Then of the people who do that, they don't actually decompose it into like, who do I need to do? Like most people actually understand, I think, what you need to do to build something really impactful. Like it's not crazy. Like you're like, I want to build a space company. Well, okay, what do I have to do? Well, I need to have money. Okay, who has money? Investors. Okay, so I need to talk to investors. Like most people either won't set the goal or they won't backtrack it and say, I need to talk to a space person. The difference is people here will walk into an investor's office and say, I'm going to talk to a space person or an investor. And then they'll get told to shove off. And they'll be like, okay, that didn't work, update. And they just keep doing that. And they do that really, really fast. And that, after a period of time, puts them in a completely different operating tier. And that's what it's like to run a company pretty much all the time. It's like, you don't know how to do it. So it is that meta process, and it's like, what do you need? And then what you need to actually be able to do that is all the soft. Like it's like emotional skills. It's like but then you'll learn the surface skills very quick, and you keep refining your positioning. So I think honestly, I think like if everyone was able to address that, the first couple things, like who they are, what they want, and just be willing to like be ambitious, I think we would have so many more like Elons and like really crazy projects in the world. And it's like, actually, I find that the average person who's like, say, working at a corporate job or thinking about starting something, I actually think they're better at the hard skills than most of the founders, right? I actually think the difference is the founders know they have this sense of resiliency and intensity and speed in an area that no one else does. And yeah, like again, I just use the thought experiment of like how many people wake up in the morning and the first thing they think is, I genuinely can build like a robotic surgery company or a rocket company, or like I'm gonna build AGI, like, and they might say that would be cool, but how many of them actually decompose it and say, here's the first step, I'm gonna have the combo, and they're not like filtering out ideas because they're like unsure. In this house, the difference is people genuinely are like, I'm gonna talk to Peter Thiel, I'm in a meeting with Peter Thiel, like boom, I'm gonna go, okay, I wanna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm doing this, I'm gonna teach here, boom, boom, like it's just like it's like just an absolute force of like just momentum, and you're like, holy crap. And when you see somebody do that, you're like, all right, like you're extremely dumb in a bunch of things and you're probably gonna fail so many ways, but like I can't see you not having some level of forward momentum over the next 5 years if you literally just don't stop. And yeah, I think it's really reduces to that. And then, you know, concretely it's like, yeah, learn Rust, learn C++, build a lot of fun tools, try to sell things. Yeah, those are like the concrete, but that's like just all part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Mainfield, I really like it. Thank you so much, Kyle. I know that you said you do some conferences and you share some really grateful insight between open and closed models and things. Do you want to, I don't know, perhaps you have something in the future that people can go to see or go to check?
Yeah. And I've got to hop in a sec, but I can give the CTA. So I run a conference called Demi, Democratize Intelligence, Demi.network. You can find me on Twitter.
Sure.
And yeah, I've been really interested in the question of like, how do you make AI like actually open and like publicly aligned? There's a lot of people that have tried and then it ends up closed, and it's kind of uncertain if it's going to be controlled by a few people. Is the majority of people, are they going to have a vote in a future where we build computers smarter than us? Like, it's not obvious to me. And I think if it is not obvious, you can either kind of say, well, I hope it goes well, or you can like do something about it. And I think doing something about it excites me a lot more. And so I want to. The starting this conference was the beginning of like, it was just what I was saying. It's like, okay, I want to solve this big problem. What do you do? Well, I need to put the best people in a room. So we like flew George Hotz in. We flew like the people like, you know, the people who wrote, like have built the things that have inspired like the whole industry in the first place. Who made the transformer, who made like, we're going to put these people in a room who all care about this mission. We're going to try and solve the coordination problem. And do I know exactly how it's going to pan out? No. So for the first couple summits, we didn't really know. But we started learning a lot, having ideas, and now this third summit's coming up, and starting to become a little more clear of like what is the shape of solutions from, you know, government policy down to hardware and software, and so yeah, that if you're interested in a world where like, you know, everyone gets a vote in superintelligence, like your preferences, the things you care about are accounted for, and it's not selected by like 5 people or 2 militaries. I'm trying to grow that community, like a kind of research group around figuring out what do we need to build to do that, basically. Who do we need to give money? What do we have to start doing? Yeah.
Really, really interesting. Kyle, thank you so much for this interview. It was really great. So yeah, that's good. Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Great. I hope